Walmart shuts down shop. Everett, Washington, left in the lurch. Got another Walmart story. Going to read two stories here. First one, just kind of the generic, stores are underperforming. Second one, we get into the reality of why this suburban Seattle Walmart, no mas. Let's get into it. Let's see what the deal is. Before we get much further, love to have you subscribe if you haven't already. Share that content with somebody that you know that might appreciate, a little reasonableness in their day. Also, don't forget to check out our members only section of reasonabletv.com. We got a bunch of content on there you won't find anywhere else because that's where we're putting the good stuff. Thanks in advance for checking it out. The retail apocalypse. I love that. The retail apocalypse. The retail apocalypse. I love that. The retail apocalypse. I mean, that just kind of really describes what's going on, doesn't it? Got the apocalypse, the end of times for retail. Is it really the end of times? It's not, but we got this filtering process in corporate America right now, specifically Walmart, with their CEO coming out late last year and stating, you got two options. You keep stealing stuff from our stores. We're one, going to shut them down. Two, we're going to raise those prices on you. Those are your two options. What have we seen a lot of? Shutting the stores down. Yep. So the retail apocalypse continues across the United States with Walmart announcing more store closures, including one in Everett, Washington. Everett, Washington is the biggest city in Snohomish County, the county north of King County. You got Boeing up there. Historically, it's a Native American Indian area, as are a lot of the communities here in Western Washington. Heavy Native American history, but it was one of the biggest cities, in Western Washington back in the day. And it's still a major employment center for Snohomish County. And it's got a port, it's got cool stuff going on, but it's also got just a scooch of homelessness going on right now. We'll get into that aspect. Sad news for shoppers in Everett, Washington, with confirmation that the Walmart at 11400 Highway 99 will close on April 21st. It's another blow to residents in Washington who have faced a number of retail store closures this year, with more set to come. So there's that thing. All right, if you're going to have stores in areas that are on the cusp of things going sideways, and then you throw in a little homelessness, a little bunch of drug addicts running around, some safety issues, some crime. Those are the stores you're closing down. And I'm reading these stories weekly. Now we're into the weekly. All right, we got this store closing, this store closing. Today it's Walmart in Everett. Walmart is closing several stores across the United States. Several? Yeah. As unfortunately, some do not meet our financial expectations. While our underlying business is strong, these specific stores haven't performed as well as we hoped. While our underlying business is strong, these specific stores haven't performed as well as we hoped. That's the corporate speak for, okay, we're not really going to tell you what's going on. These stores over here are doing fine. These stores over here, they're not performing on a financial basis as well as we had hoped. That's basically the cover for whatever particular reason it may be. And in Walmart's case, it's usually an issue of the store is located in a particularly rough area of town. You got a ton of shoplifting going on. It's already not making money. You've got safety issues oftentimes. You've got homeless people running around that are on drugs, and they go to Walmart and they make a career out of stealing from Walmart. Those are the things. That's the underlying bottom line that nobody is willing to come right out and say, because it's kind of like a scorched earth policy, right? If you're going to go out on scorched earth, you're going to torch everything behind you, including all relationships with the community. Good Lord. And an example of that would be if corporate Walmart said, what in the hell happened to Everett, Washington? What a crappy city that is. I mean, they just got homeless people walking all around. They got, our stuff is just walking out the front door all day long. We can't get enough security in there. Nobody feels safe. We got people being stabbed, got people being shot. Meanwhile, drug addicts are just running everything. Corporate can't say that, right? They just can't. Because that would literally, hey, you crapped on our city back then, and now you want to run a store now that we got things cleaned up? Now you want to, come back groveling on your hands for this space in our community? I don't think so. You get what I'm saying. It's, it's along those lines. Corporate has always got to put out, hey, it's not you, it's us. We're making a change. We're going in a different direction. It's us. That's the breakup, right? So we've always got this corporate speak. And I love that part because it's like, all right, how do you spin the fact that your store is located in an area where leadership has done such a piss poor job that you've got homeless encampments all around it? And guess what? Nobody wants to run a business in those circumstances, but nobody wants to come out and say that. I'm a podcaster, so I can say whatever I want because this is our podcast, right? I mean, you're joining me because you want to hear the real deal. You want to hear news that's reasonable. That's what we're doing. Local retailers at the strip mall were disappointed with the news, with some stating they relied upon Walmart to drive customers to them. It's called an anchor store, right? You got these big stores that an anchor, they're the anchor of what they hold everything together. They're just, that's what's happening with retail is losing a lot of anchor stores. One of the malls that I go to sometimes-ish, I'm not a big shopper. I could really care less about stuff. You know what I mean? But if I got to go somewhere, there's a mall very close to my house called Crossroads Mall. And it used to have, Bed Bath and Beyond and they're all gone. Yeah. The retail apocalypse is upon us because, during the pandemic, people got used to just buying everything from Amazon, getting it sent to them. It's too easy. Amazon's made it too easy. Now you got Amazon laying off 18,000 people, right? So, and part of that is we've gone through the pandemic and we're on the flip side. And during that pandemic, Amazon and all these online companies that operated, online for a good portion of their business really, really ramped up. So now we're on that downside. They're having to cut some folks. It, goes on, how business is doing. And when you've got an interest rate environment that just, shoots through the roof in a very short period of time, it tends to cut off business. It slows. That's its intention. And the Fed basically said, hey, we're trying to get to a point where we've got layoffs in the economy because that indicates we've done our job, which is stopping inflation, things going up in price because there's so much demand. They're trying to cut some of that demand down. Well, I think they've done it. And, this last quarter point pop that the Fed did kind of indicated to me, all right, they're still holding on to that. We're going to crush inflation, but we're going to do it at much lesser levels than we have in the past, which were, half point pops or even a 3/4 point pop would be a big one. 75 basis points, right? 0.75%. They're raising these rates so that there's less demand. The higher interest rates go, there's less demand because people can't afford it because payments are higher based on those interest rates level. So local retailers in the strip were disappointed with the news. Those are the anchor tenants. Got an anchor tenant going. These small little businesses are like, man, that sucks. Now you're going to have less people walking around in the parking lot. Hey, let's go get teriyaki there. Hey, let's go get our shoes fixed there. Hey, let's go buy this, t-shirt at this t-shirt shop. Let's go to this smoke shop. Let's go to this, deli. Let's go to whatever. That's after their big shopping excursion at Walmart. That is how this goes, right? That's how retail shopping goes. You pull up to one of these mega retail, malls and you're like, good Lord, from, which of these options do I go shopping? Do I go to Nordstrom? Do I go to Kohl's? Do I go to, Walmart? That's the shopping experience. So now you got a situation where, the other businesses in the area are going, oof, that's not good. Our big anchor tenant in the area is gone. Walmart pulls the plug. The store opened in 2006 and employed 198 people who will be offered the opportunity to move to another Walmart location. The Walmart Supercenter at 1605 Southeast Everett Mall Way will remain open. All right. So Everett is not it is not a food desert. I always want to say food oasis. I don't know why. Desert, oasis, I guess, go hand in hand. Sand and desert go hand in hand too, but I don't ever say that. So it's one of those Freudian things. Oasis. Maybe it's the band. Maybe I'm just a big Oasis fan, right? But no, getting back to our regularly scheduled program, Walmart is not in an area where you've got zero grocery stores. But I think this one particular store has had its fair share of shenanigans from the homeless community. Everett has its share of homeless. It's a big city for Snohomish County. Snohomish County is kind of spread out and more suburban to rural-ish. You go up by 5 and you got the big cities, and you go east of, in Snohomish County, man, there ain't a lot out there. You hit the Cascade Mountains, and there's some small cities out to the mountains, but they're very small in comparison to like King County. So you got a Walmart store that's probably done okay historically over the years, but more recently it's getting whacked because it's got, it's probably not a safe store to shop at. It's got a bunch of shoplifting, but corporate saying, well, it's not you, it's us. Underperforming corporate nonsense. So the retail industry has been hit hard of late. Over the last month, more than 1,400 retail stores have been listed to close, with the possibility of more to come. 1,400 retail stores. Now, that might sound like a lot, but you know how many stores there are across the United States? I'm going to give you a technical term, a crap ton. So yeah, there are stores, but more specifically, you are seeing chains go down, right? You're seeing Bed Bath & Beyond. You have seen Victoria's Secret. Let's talk about stores with these things in their title. Victoria's Secret, going through corporate restructuring. Other Target, has closed down some stores. A lot of these stores are either industry where they're selling a bunch of, clothes, something like that, where, a lot of stuff online has taken over those kind of sales. I'll just order it online. If I don't like it, I'll send it back. That's everybody's attitude today, isn't it? It's not, hey, you know what? I'm going to go spend the whole day driving around from store to store and get what we need. But groceries, and that's where a lot of the Walmarts come in. Groceries, people need their groceries. And Walmart also typically has pharmacies, just like Target. Oftentimes at Target, maybe it's Walgreens and Rite Aid. They're typically more, does Target have, I don't know if Target has pharmacies, but groceries and pharmacies, those are two things that are really critical in a community. And if you take those away, there's some really lasting impact to the local patrons. And oftentimes they're the ones in the community that can least afford to have a Walmart or a Target or a Walgreens, close down in their community because they don't have the transportation. They don't have somebody that can help them. Maybe they're elderly folks and they're just looking to get, their groceries and their prescription medication, and they can't get it. And when these stores close down, it's a blast to the community. It is. So then the flip side to that is people say, hey, well, leadership hasn't made this store area safe. You got a bunch of drugged out homeless people running around, but people just they don't want to get into that, right? They're just like, what homeless problem? We have a lack of affordable housing problem. Yeah. And there's some guy running around with a crack pipe, smoking fentanyl with some kind of sword in his, in his sheath on his side. And he's got no shirt on, barely got a pair of pants on and no shoes. And he's just running around screaming at people. Yeah. We don't have a homeless problem. We've got an affordable housing issue. And you're looking at these whacked out crackheads, for lack of a better word, screaming at the clouds. And all you could think of is, yeah, no drug problem here. No issues here, but let's go with that lack of affordable housing, right? And then we'll just shut down Walmart at the same time. So So this author, before we move on to the next article, we'll just get through your thoughts. What are your thoughts on this? Does the closing of Walmart in Everett affect you? Do you believe the government should offer these businesses more financial support? Are you concerned about those people who will lose their jobs? Who is to blame for all these closures? Well, do you believe in government should offer these businesses more financial support? Yes, by getting a handle on your drug crisis and then your homeless crisis and then your mental people that you've allowed to just wander around that should be getting mental health care somewhere and not running around on our streets. Because that is literally that on top of the retail apocalypse is what's closing these stores down right now. Guaranteed. But that's saying the quiet part out loud. Nobody wants to talk about that. What problem do we have? We don't have a problem. We just need more housing units. We need more housing units. That's what I hear so often. It's like, no, you don't. You need a bunch more treatment centers. You need a bunch more mental institutions to take care of these folks. But because that's a major problem and, funding isn't there for those kinds of things, we're not really talking about that. We're just going to focus on, do we put in pods or do we put in tents? That's literally what Portland is working on right now. It's what Oregon is working on. All right. You're going to get $200 million for your housing, your houseless issues, but we don't put tents. Well, not so much because Mayor Ted in Portland's going to put up 6 of these massive homeless communities. I'm sure that's going to work out fine, right? I'm sure that's going to work out fine. Now the big debate is, well, if we put in tents or we put in pods, we're talking about dolphins or homeless. It's like get a handle on these things, but nobody wants to do that because then you'd have to address what the real problem is. And then you'd have to go down those roads and nobody really wants to do that. It's pretty interesting, right? Pretty interesting. Let's get down to brass tacks here, right? Is that the right term? I think it is. Walmart announces Everett store on Highway 99 will close on April 21st. Okay. This is the Herald. It's the Everett Herald. Old newspaper. The retail giant said in a statement Tuesday that the location did not meet financial expectations. So they can always hide under that cloud, right? Located along this, whatever. It's a 147,000 square foot store. So this is a big Walmart. This is one of the Mac Daddies. This is not the Express 22,000 square footer, right? Store employees, yada, yada, last day of operation. Yeah. David Long, who was shopping there on Tuesday, said the closure is the fault of city officials who failed to address the number of homeless people in the area. Boom. There's your money shot. There it is. All the corporate speak in the world you want comes right down to it. Somebody who's been shopping there for a long time, some dude who's shopping there now is like, here's what your deal is. So, you might say, well, the homeless people, they've just got their tents and they live quietly and, they don't cause any ruckus. They don't, they're not really to blame. That is such nonsense. The litany of negative impact from the homeless can't be underestimated. I think a while ago, you could probably get away with saying, they're just people down on their luck, looking to get back on their feet. They're looking to get going again. But we're way past that. We're way past that. The number of, I think it was, it was this morning. I think I released a Walmart closing in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And one of the telltale signs there that they're in the heart of just a real issue with crime and criminal activity going on and homelessness was that in the previous year, the Walmart in Albuquerque, New Mexico had, I want to say 708 calls to 911 for various shenanigans going on, either inside this store or at this location. Because they're multiple acre parcels that have these big stores on them because, 147,000 square feet, that right there is 3.5 acres. I mean, it's massive. It's a massive store, huge store. And so, you got 708 calls to a single center. Like I said before, if you're corporate and you're going down the list, all right, this one's breaking even. This one's okay. This one's losing a little bit of money. What else is going on there? Oh, we have this, and this go on. How many calls now? Oh, 708. I mean, you don't even have to be upper middle management level. You can be guy running the shopping carts around in the parking lot and understand how criminal activity from the homeless is impacting your store. Because they're probably taking half of your carts offside and just, off-site, just leaving them willy-nilly wherever. Blame it on the city council not taking care of homelessness, Long said. Others shrugged their shoulders and said they'd shop elsewhere. It's like, I don't really care. Just kind of used to everything going on here. It's all right. So I'll just go down to the other one. Resident Rafael Castillo said he plans to shop at a Walmart store closer to him. Okay, so then why are you shopping at a Walmart that's further away? That's an interesting question, right? A strip mall located on the south end of the store's parking lot houses several businesses, including Malik Barbershop. Oh, we got a barbershop. We got a Smoke King, smoke shop of sorts, I guess. The Topeka restaurant is probably some kind of Mexican food. An Oasis, nails and spa. There's that Oasis again, right? Got the desert, got the Oasis. Niket Thapa, the manager of Smoke King, was disappointed by news that the Walmart would be closing. That's not a good thing for us, Thopa said. That's where most of our customers come from, he said of the store. And what he means is they literally come from Walmart to his store. Hey, smoke shop. I have never really understood the whole smoke shop concept deal. I know there's lots of them, but it's like, what are you getting there? Like, what products are you getting at the smoke shop? And it's not a marijuana store because it would say marijuana store. It's a smoke shop. So tobacco products. What are you getting there that you can't get at Walmart? A specific kind of something. I don't know. Maybe you're getting a special vape product. I don't really do any of that, so I don't really know. Maybe you're getting some really high nicotine vape products. Okay, whatever. But whatever it is, this smoke shop is going to have less foot traffic because people aren't going to come out of the store and go, oh, okay, yeah, let's go get my vape product right there at smoke shop. You're not going to do that. Smoke King or whatever it is. Thapa hoped the soon-to-be vacant building would be filled by a Target, or other large retail outlet. Well, don't get your hopes up because that's going to take a long, long time to, make that switch over. Things don't on big scale buildings like that. They do not happen overnight. It typically takes years to rotate through. You might have an interim use, take over a portion of a building for a little bit, but oftentimes it takes years to shut the store down, clear it out, and then for somebody else to come in and take over the space. And guess what? People who scout out big commercial office space are not stupid. They are not blind like the city officials. They can see the homeless encampment and tents. And if you think this building is bad now, the location of this building is bad now, just wait until it becomes vacant, right? Because then you got less people around and it just becomes a free-for-all. It just becomes a free-for-all. Kind of like Kensington Avenue. Free-for-all. If you've seen videos of that, that is literally the definition of open air market for you name it. You name it, and it's there. Walmart, which owns the property, the one we're talking about here in Everett, said the facility will be reevaluated for use at a later date. That is corporate speak for we're shutting her down and we don't really have a plan for it. But we will reconsider our options for redevelopment later. They're shutting the bad boy down, right? They'll sell it off. Because they're probably not going to wait for this to make a turnaround, right? It's very rare that you hear of a big corporate store shutting it down and coming back in. It just, they're kind of usually one and done. They're not going to come back. The property is owned by the Walmart Real Estate Business Trust, according to the Snohomish County assessor. The Bentonville, Arkansas-based retailer will continue to operate the Walmart. We talked about that on Southeast Everett Mall Way. Walmart also operates stores and supercenters in Linwood, Marysville, Arlington, Monroe, and Oak Harbor, other pretty good-sized cities with decent-sized commercial areas in Snohomish County. So again, they typically go with, all right, we got an extenuating set of circumstances here, shut her down. That's what they do, right? Walmart typically closes a handful of stores each year. Earlier this year, the company said that it planned to close 8 retail locations across the U.S. this year, citing poor financial performance factors. Walmart operates nearly 5,000 stores in the US. So, one store in Everett, one store in Albuquerque, if it were truly just performance in these markets, but is there really a market other than like a city that's shutting down and losing its population? Say that, they were dependent upon one industry, like the car industry. That makes sense. Well, you've got a population, exile from an area and you just don't have the people shopping there. But from my understanding, there's a lot of people shopping at any of these Walmarts, right? There always are. And people are always disappointed. They're like, where am I going to shop now? Well, you got to figure it out, look at that map. And like I said earlier, it's going to impact the people that can, take the impact the least. Your folks in the lower socioeconomic, oftentimes the BIPOC community, right? So many of these stores are being shut down in BIPOC, lower socioeconomic markets where homelessness has been allowed to just, let's just let it go and see what happens. It's not good. Walmart shutting down. And that's literally what we've got going on here. So, like somebody in this story, I blame government too. Government has allowed this stuff to go on. We've had this attitude towards, urban camping. Let it go. They're just, down on their luck. And now it's morphed into this deal where you just got a ton of drugs and criminal activity in all of the homeless encampments that you see out there, because that's what they're based on. And, these situations happen. And now you're seeing the end result, the quiet part out loud, which is shut her down. This doesn't make sense for us. And you got a bunch of, reasons where it makes sense. The reason they're shutting these things down is because it's validated. What's really interesting is they oftentimes won't come out and say it. You got to find local. The Everett Herald is going to come out and report on it. Hey, here's what's really going on. And that's why I focus so much on these stories, because so often you don't really hear a reason for why a Walmart gets shuts down. It's like, well, it seemed to be doing good. Parking lot was full. And then if you do a little digging, people are like, yeah, a lot of tents around. We had that shooting that stabbing, the security guard inside the store, they got assaulted. All the cars broken into, cars stolen, broken windows, break-ins to the Walmart. The list goes on. 911 calls to the homeless encampments surrounding the area. The list just goes on and on and on and on. So is this shocking? Absolutely not. It's not shocking for anybody in the process. Does it impact people? Yeah, it sucks. But it's also like, what else did you expect would happen? Walmart CEO's been calling this for a while, right? Been calling this. Hey, two options, shut her down, prices go up. Here we are. One less Walmart store in Everett, Washington. Thanks for being here. I'll be covering this topic because I'll be covering this topic for a long, long time. This is the end result of what some see as the end of civilization as we know it. And to some, that's a sensational way of looking at it. In some aspects, it's right, because communities should have stores. Now they don't. Here's your sign. All right. That's it for me. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.